Right. Just waiting. Okay, so we're recording now. So I have already said, but for those that have just joined us, welcome to today's Project Management Career Chat. Delighted to have two of our alliance partners with us, Thompsons and Aecom. Both are going to share their transitions and a day in the life of, and then we'll go into our Q&A. So sit back and enjoy. I'm going to hand over to the Billforce chair. Over to you, Angela. Thank you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. A very, very warm welcome. It's been a particularly poignant week this week with Remembrance Sunday, where we all paused to think about those who had died and those who have served and remembered their sacrifice. So we just don't want that being unsaid. Again, we've got lots of people joining us today who are still serving. So our thought and love are with you all whilst you're away from your families. Again, two fantastic employers today, so we're very much looking forward to it. We were going to hear from Richard Smith from Thompsons and then David Jenkinson from Aecom. So let's pass to our speakers and start this morning's session. Richard, you ready? We'll get our cameras off.
Angela, bear with me, I'm just going to get our tech on and hopefully you should be able to see the screen.
Yes, brilliant. Rich, you're a little bit faint. Can you just turn yourself up a little bit? But we can see your presentation, so that's brilliant. I'm just
bear with me. I will just
that's brilliant.
That out.
So just on speaker, just to turn your camera off because it will affect the quality. Many thanks.
Is that any better at all?
That's it, Richard.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thanks, Richard.
Great stuff. So, first of all, it's an honour to have done this. Just to give you a bit of context, I'm sort of 18 months out of green kit now, but still serving as an army reservist, so still very much keeping my toe in, and was asked by Caroline and the team today to present on project management. And as you can see there, I've sort of taglined it, creating calm in chaos, because it really is, from my experiences over the last 18 months that I'm going to share with you. So just to give you a bit of an idea of what Thompsons is, we're not a household name, but we do work for many household names and global brands. We're about a sort of £30 million fit out joinery company that works all over the UK into Europe, providing what we call case goods and fit out manufactured items for people like Starbucks, Euro garages, Heineken, and all the other brands that you can see there on the right hand side. And we do everything from fitting walls, floors, ceilings to bar tops to bespoke pieces of joinery. And I'm actually at one of our projects today that I've been delivering over the past 42 weeks, which is a Hampton by Hilton hotel in Blackburn. And for those of you that can see, we're in our process of a handover meeting today with the brand, which is really exciting for us. So what are my project management lessons? Well, firstly, construction is chaotic. Much like for training and operations, people will let you down, things won't arrive on time, and if they do, quite often they'll be wrong, and many of you will have had this before, whether it be with your soldiers or indeed your officers. But nothing's wholly new, so take comfort in that. You will be able to do it even without professional project management qualifications. There will be various different management tools and processes, but they're merely rebranded versions of what you've probably been using previously. So again, refer back to your experience there and draw upon whatever similarities you can from previous projects, however small or large you may have run whilst serving with the military. Problem solving alone will get you a long way. And believe it or not, don't reinvent the wheel. The MOD is a well-refined machine with some exceptional individuals in it, and soak up as much best practice as you possibly can before you leave, and make sure that you keep it on a file server or a USB stick, wherever protective marking allows, and utilise the formats within your new business. Because it will help you manage things that perhaps aren't so familiar to you, and they may well then be later adopted as best practice across the business. There is a number of templates that I brought forward from previous roles that we're now using across all project management teams. And clearly that depends upon the size and maturity of the business. Our business is comparatively quite small to the likes of Mace, Kia and Skanska. So again, it's new to my business. I've put there, bringing order to chaos. You are effectively, being a military person, a professional crisis manager, and you've developed that from everything from basic training up to the subsequent experiences where you've been tested and pushed your limits. Don't handle things any differently in the civil. You don't need to handle things too differently in the civilian world. Bringing people together and creating solutions is what project management, from my experience, is all about. And not everyone has these skills naturally, and they're very valuable to the business. And bringing sort of simplicity to complexity is another term that I've used, and doing things like contingency plans and just putting proposals forward with brevity and clarity. Again, it is a skill that you will find that will be highly valued. Utilise the experience of others is about, much like in battalion, you know, I've been to new battalions whereby I've gone and spoken to the MTO, the QM, the RSM, who've got a wealth of experience within the first week, and they've given me the full lowdown on the ins and outs of the company. Now, it's been very much the same here. I did the same at Thompsons, listened to their advice, understood what their mistakes had been within the business at the time of me joining, and making sure that I avoided that pitfalls. And again, that went a long way. I've set up an organisational lessons learned process for the company, and again, it's now been adopted not only on my projects but on other projects as well. In my other role as now head of continuous improvement. Others less proactive or new to the business will again find comfort in that, and that lessons database means it is again valuable for the business, because we're able to understand when new project managers come in exactly how to do things the Thompsons way. And that brings me on to, you know, there is a way of doing business within Thompsons and indeed other companies. Make sure you understand what this is, who does what, and what is expected of you and when. Quite often, although there'll be a job spec, what you actually do on a day-to-day basis as a project manager may well be quite different. People, in my experience, tend to stay in lane, not like the military. So stick to your word and deliver on your promises on whatever your lane is. Bringing in ways of working and expecting others who've been in the business longer, whether it be a buyer or a QS, and expecting them to adopt it. You know, don't. It gets their back up. It was quite evident that people don't like change. Small incremental changes, such as Teams or using SharePoint, can be rolled out through people who are prepared to change, so change advocates and change champions. And once you've proven the benefits within your small project team, you know, then you can perhaps roll it out. But very much small incremental changes is my advice. Just because you've been on a Prince 2 course doesn't mean that everybody else has, so don't expect them to follow that model. Commercialize everything, because everything has a cost. It's something that we're not necessarily familiar with in the military, but profit and loss is central to absolutely everything, every decision that is made, and you need to, in projects, and understand what the implications of you doing something are. And be prepared to defend your decisions as well if you're asking for more money or resources, especially after those planning stages. Things have to be commercially justifiable, so don't expect people to do things just because you say it's the right thing to do. You know, you need to be able to be prepared to justify it. And as I've found through experience, you know, projects can unravel very, very quickly, and people often don't want to give you bad news. You need to go looking for it. Weekly site visits are the norm, but much like the position of the commander on the battlefield, you know, don't just stick to the doctrine. When you identify risk and there's times you need to put yourself at the main effort, put yourself there as a project manager. I've spent the last 3 months on this site in our largest job for Hampton by Hilton, and of working from these public areas here. And also from a site office, in order to provide the site team the support that they need, and the detailed coordination of the operations team being brought in from the client and the brand. and making sure that I've got that fingertip feel throughout. And then build and maintain relationships, subcontractors, architects, designers, planners, client direct subcontractors, and a whole host of other individuals that make up the diverse stakeholder groups that are involved in a construction project. You need to make good relationships with those people, and when given the opportunity, have a brew with them, have a chat with them, see what their priorities are, and let them understand yours. For clients, it's about being available, come rain or shine, day or night, and also that availability in the time of crisis, not just your crisis, theirs as well. The term sort of holding an umbrella over them when they're amassed with all the issues and deflecting some of them, it is one that I've used. Offering some solutions for them goes a long way, and again provides business development opportunities in the future. So some top tips for resettlement. Tailor your feeds, immerse yourself in the language and the business language of whatever sector you want to go into. Twitter, LinkedIn, newsletters, online blogs, whatever it is, tailor your feeds. Utilize absolutely all recruitment platforms. Don't just limit yourself to LinkedIn. Indeed, Monster, other such of job sites, they're all important, and you might find an opportunity that is embedded somewhere that you thought wasn't available, and that one might just be that project management job that you've been looking for. Make sure that you network and reconnect and secure references early. It's really key that whether it be your previous CO, company commander, or indeed platoon sergeant, whatever it is, that people are prepared to be your references, because you might need to call upon them at short notice. And also networking prior to leaving, certainly helps if you were going to go into something like project management in a defence construction sector. It's many people will tell you through CTP and various other groups to make sure that you plan CVs and covering letters early. Don't underestimate the value of that, and don't take that with a pinch of salt. Do that activity very deliberately and look at matching those keywords, because you might find that between you and your dream job is a filter on a HR tool, and you don't want that to be the thing precluding you from getting it. I would encourage you to select the right company, not just the right role. A lot of people say they want to go into project management, but overlook the things to do with the way the company works and its culture. It is absolutely vital that you are content with that company, because you'll get good projects and bad projects, but the company that you're with and your employer, you want to stay with them, learn from them. You want to be happy with the people you work with. It's very important to look into that in quite some detail, not just one project at a time. And I put there, don't underestimate the value of culture, because I've gone into a company that's had a very different culture. It's extremely commercial. A lot of departments don't talk to one another. Okay, much like probably Army headquarters or 3div, but culture is really important, and we don't realise how much we value culture in the military until we leave. I certainly valued the culture that we had, and certainly enjoy the culture of the reserves now, but not all civilian organisations have that deep-rooted culture. So make sure you understand what that is before applying for a job. And finally, synchronise your opportunities, because if you're able to do that, you are successful with various jobs, then fantastic. But having a decision detached from another employer's offer, 1 month apart, makes your negotiation hand certainly not strong. If you've got multiple offers on the table, you are able to say with genuine conviction, you're able to go elsewhere, and quite often that provides you with a very strong hand at interview. I've done that successfully on 2 occasions, and it's worked very well for me both times. So do synchronise effects, because it'll go a long way. That's all from me. Back to the team.
Hi there, thank you very much for that, Richard. And could I ask David if he's able to join us?
Certainly. So I'm just going to share some slides now, Angela.
Thank you. Okay, I'll turn my camera off. Thank you.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. I recognise a fair few names who have cropped up on the attendees list, so good morning to you who I know and good morning to everybody else. David Jenkinson, I'm part of the programme leadership team within Aecom, running a sub-team out of our London Oldgate office. What I'm going to do on this presentation is just echo some of the points Richard said, but try to provide a slightly different appreciation of my resettlement process and almost what the programme and project manager roles within Aecom consist of and how they transition into my kind of day-to-day routine. And then what I've done is also invited Kirk Beeden from our talent acquisition team, because I feel there's probably some good questions which can be posed to him, and he can also provide a good oversight on the application and process procedure with regards to potential opportunities with the company. I think that's something I would have welcomed when I was going through the same process that you are at the moment. So as I said, David Jenkinson, I left probably just over 18 months ago, ex-Royal Engineers. I was a late entry officer, started as a soldier and then transitioned through a technical roster into a garrison engineer role. And I left at my 22-year point. So had a fabulous career, and it's been transitioned very well into this next part. So as you can see there, we're going to just go through these elements, and I'm not going to sort of pay too much weight on these, but in effect, what I would suggest is just keeping things as simple as possible throughout the whole process. Don't overcomplicate what it is you're trying to achieve. And this is a pictorial representation of what I did, and I've put these notes down. And in effect, I just had a look at what I wanted to do, how I wanted to get there, and then given that when you get there, and you will get there, the journey isn't over, it's a continual journey. So in effect, a decision to leave, actually creating a pathway. And I know everybody says this, but are you actually doing it? And then visualizing and getting yourself into that new job. So I've also underscored this with what I wanted to do. I actually wrote this down, and I took myself away from all of the noise of, you know, daily drumbeat of activity, and just really thought, what is it I want to achieve? And then from there, I then set about planning and really putting into practice how I was going to do that. And as I said, I kept it as simple as possible at all times, and I trusted my judgment, because as you will no doubt be experiencing, including from myself and Richard, everybody has their own advice, and they can give advice on their own journey, but ultimately you have to trust your own judgment. Also being realistic, but aiming high. Now I aimed extremely high, and I thought that I would be able to achieve something, and I was lucky enough to achieve that. But that was through just endeavour and visualising, as I said, and I actually visualised the place I wanted to be, and I fixated on that. And to allow me to do that, I did real broadening engagement. Richard did tap into this and put myself out. So when you are invited to maybe speak to somebody in industry, they are taking their time, they're paid professionals. So if they're giving you their time, you should really, I feel, go out of your way to make that happen, unless, you know, you really can't. But if you can't make potential meetings, then I think you really have to justify within yourself why you wouldn't be able to do that. And then looking at that preparedness, really coming up with a solid approach to interviewing technique, thinking of the type of questions that will be asked, and then just having a generalized response that you can build on. So it's turning them interviews into discussional items, where it's a two-way communication, and you're asking as many questions and being engaged as the interviewees are. And then also really identifying your unique selling point. What differentiates you from the other 30 potential applicants which are going to be going for a certain role? And I've put impressions here. Now, I found this, some people may disagree, but for me, first impressions make lasting impressions, and you are really trying to get yourself into a position that you want to be in. So never forget the impressions that you're making with regards to your conduct, how your bearing is, what you're talking about, having confidence in what you're talking about. And then I've underscored this with enjoying the journey. It's is really an enjoyable thing to be going through, and it's exciting, and it's part of the life journey. So from my perspective, and I said this to myself, I was going to enjoy the journey, and I did. And then when I got there, so having gone through interviews and being awarded or being given a job wherever it is you're going to land, it doesn't end. And I said to myself, and I wrote this down, and it's in the back of my notebook, and I always have it there: observe, learn, adapt, and integrate, to allow me to deliver and continually improve. And part of this is I've been extremely lucky to have people around me within the company who are ex-military, who have provided not necessarily coaching as such, but just good advice along the way. And with their advice, there's people on the call now, the likes of Darren Carlisle and Jim Bowden, who they've never told me what I need to do. They've just provided a good listening ear and kind of nudged me in the right direction, or just provided me with a different perspective of how the company operates. And I've underscored this with agility. The reason I feel like I've been successful in the company, and others who I recognise who are successful, is that agility of thought, not being fixated with what it is you are trying to achieve. So it's that plan will always change, and you need to be able to adapt and through agility, be able to just get on with whatever it is you needed to do. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is pull up this next slide. And what this does, this differentiates. So I explained I'm a program manager. I run a program management team, and we focus on the elements in blue. But that Aecom has a strong influence within the project management realm also. I'm not going to go through all these points, but what I will do is just explain what I actually do. So as a program manager, I am commissioned to support clients and organisations in developing their schemes to allow them to achieve what we have there as outcomes and benefits. And this is what I've put on the bottom there, is the difference between outcome and the outputs which your projects are led to deliver. And this is the Aecom way, so to say. So this is how we go about our business. And my daily routine will be engagement with clients, providing them with advisory, consultancy type activity, but ultimately leading programmatic change, so transformational change for their organisation. So they will commission the company to provide that expertise, and then myself would need to deliver the scheme, adapt, and as we can see, there's such things as developing business case. The difference between the program space and the project space is I would look to develop the business case, whereas our project managers would look to deliver the specific work within the business case, so to say. And you can see there's a slightly different level of stakeholder engagement required. At the program space, it's more executive level stakeholder engagement and having a firm understanding of that multidisciplinary environment, and the project managers would more than likely be focused within the multidisciplinary stakeholder engagement environment. One of the key elements, the key differences between the two is, as a program manager, I don't really need to have too much of a controlling mind with regards to the contracts that we have. I will have project managers conducting contract management, but all of our project managers generally have a very good understanding of contract management, such as NEC contracts, etc. And the last thing I'm going to point out on here is, with our project managers, we really want them to focus on time, cost and quality outputs. And within the programmatic space, I direct my team, and we are commissioned to provide organisational alignment with regards to business priorities. So this allows us to flex and adapt and change and coordinate and almost lead a business through that transformational change, providing the direction to the projects to provide whatever benefits or outputs that we need. These slides will be shared with you following this presentation, and there's elements on here which I'm not going to discuss in detail on this presentation today, but I feel like they'll provide you with a good understanding of what it is Aecom would be looking for and wider industry would be looking for with regards to these elements. And this next slide is an example of that. So the difference between the program manager role and the project manager role. The elements in the blue there are the type of things which I'd be engaged with. the things which I'm going to pull out here, which I haven't covered on the last slide, is just explaining the additional elements when you're in a company such as Aecom with regards to consultancy of supporting activities such as bid winning, business development, growth mandates, all of that activity. It's part and parcel of your daily routine. So I take myself as an example, would be commissioned to provide a client 40 hours worth of work a week, say. On top of that, there would be a requirement to support the business through activities such as growth strategizing, growth ideas, opportunities, bidding, employment, mentoring, line management responsibilities, which are similar to those that you would have in the military, just ever so slightly different with regards to objective setting and how you monitor their activity throughout the year. And then this last slide, before I hand over to Kirk, just provides a snapshot of the different expectations. So I started off saying, be realistic, but aim high. So when we're looking at a company such as Aecom, and you're potentially looking at an opportunity which you may look to go for, have a look at these boxes here, and you'll see the type of things which will be expected of you. So as you're fixing yourself going forwards, with regard to either program or project management, have a look at the type of preferred qualifications that are required, the type of experience that is required. Now, this isn't to say that you definitely need these, because as it says there, they are preferred. But if you haven't got any of these competencies, you would need to be able to justify either a suitable alternative or why you haven't got something, or the fact that you are working towards something. Because think of them other, as I said, if there's 40 people going for a role, the other 39 may well have these, but the credibility that you bring from your military experience and the acumen that you bring will shine through. So you just need to have that payoff. So without any further ado, and obviously we will be available for Q&A after, I'm going to hand over to Kirk.
David. Hello, David.
Hello.
Hello, this is Mr. B. Thank you very much. I think I have sent you the LinkedIn request. I think I know you very well because you are in the Royal Engineers. I'm also a Royal Engineers. I met you some point in the past, so we'll chat on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
no problem. No problem. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah,
thanks,
thank you.
Brenda. Thank you. Can we pass to colleague? If Kirk's there, if he's able to join us.
I'm here. Hopefully you
Hi,
can see
Kirk.
me. Hi. Yeah, as David mentioned, I've got the slide for kind of what we offer. I'll be going through that, not in a huge amount of detail. Just a brief background. I'm Kirk Beeden. I look after talent acquisition for Aecom, particularly for their project and program management business across infrastructure. Which covers off both project and program management, which David discussed, but also we have various different teams, including risk, continuous improvement as well. So a lot of different skill sets that go into making major projects work. Got a spiel on Aecom about kind of the company that we are. You can read through that in your own time. Obviously, we're strong on diversity, employee well-being. A lot of the work that we've done, we were ahead of the curve. We had flexible working and working from home as standard as options for everyone prior to the pandemic. So that's really helped us. With it becoming, I hate the phrase, but the new normal, something that we'd already implemented. So we already had Teams meetings and such. So that's really helped us kind of be able to deliver for our clients in these testing times, but equally helps our employees overcome any issues that they may have. One thing I would always say particularly to service leavers in terms of Aecom as a business, we're a huge multinational organization. I think the last stats that I looked, which were last year, is that we employed around 8,000 veterans globally. So it gives you an idea of the size of business that we are. And I'd like to compare it to kind of the military. I'm ex-army. I'm former Royal Signals prior to many years ago, moving into recruitment. But what I'd say is I always compare a company like Aecom to the army in that there's a variety of different regiments, battalions, even squadrons that make up the business, and that in terms of the culture that Richard mentioned earlier, that can vary from business to business. Some are far more entrepreneurial, some are far more technical, and there's a variety of different people and cultures that make up that business. So that's always something to bear in mind when looking at an organisation, that there will be changes across it, particularly a big one like Aecom. The recruitment process for our business is that we have all of our jobs advertised on the Aecom careers site. We've got an example job on there within the infrastructure team that is pointed as Liverpool, but we have opportunities across the whole of the UK. So the process is that you have a look on our website. You can filter it by location, filter it by job title, and apply via there. There isn't a HR filter. There's no keyword searching that we use. It will go to a real live person, and we will have a look at your CV and then pass it on to the hiring managers. So that is a bonus. However, what I would always say to any service leavers who are looking to transition is have a look at a business, have a look on LinkedIn, look for people like David, people who are service leavers or people that you may know from within your regiments, within the business, and get in touch with them to ask them the question in regards to what the business is like. And also I'd suggest having a look at kind of speaking to them around what opportunities they have. I've got an advantage in that when I look at military CVs, I've got a military background, so I can translate it into the civilian world. Not all of my colleagues and not all companies have that. But most companies do have like an internal referral program, so they can share CVs internally from within the business. So that will really be a big advantage to yourself if you can find an advocate within an organisation to put you forward and help explain to the talent acquisition recruitment team as to what you could potentially offer the business. So I know sometimes recruitment can be quite a drawn out process and it can seem impersonal at times. So I would suggest to anyone that to reach out to anyone that you may know within a business, particularly like Aecom, a larger business that can help put you forward. Also as well, when looking at your CV, I'd always suggest, I think most people would I've mentioned to you before, to tailor it as much as possible to the role that you're applying for as well. And again, anyone within the business will be able to give you some tips and hints in regards to how best to do that. So that would be my advice. And like I said, all of our roles are on our website. Good news is that we are fully recruiting. I think we've got plans to hire 100+ people across project and program management this year and next year. So we have got a lot of opportunities. And like I said, best advice is to speak to people within the organisation. And go from there. That's how I got my role. Was speaking directly to our recruitment manager and selling my services to them. Fantastic.
Kirk, that's fantastic. Thank you very much. Music to everybody's ears. I appreciate that. Again, David, a fantastic presentation. The detail was exceptional, so thank you for that. And again, comparing the difference between programme and project management. So that will provide useful information. If anybody does have a question, just please raise your hand. You can come online and ask it yourself or type it in the comments box. I think probably what I will do is...
Hello, Kirk.
Oh, hi.
Hello, sorry. I've got
okay.
only one question. Yeah, I know it is a globally focused organization. However, what is the most of the working area, for example, because I will be settling in Kent area after my retirement.
Yeah, we've got offices all across the UK and Ireland. So we've got offices in London. Our main office is London Aldgate, but also we've got offices St Albans, Croydon, and others. So we have got opportunities around the London and the southeast. We've got opportunities in the southwest. We do a lot of MOD work there, and also for the whole of the UK.
Yeah, Kirk, thank you very much. Did you say you are ex-Royal Signals?
Ex-Royal Signals, yes.
Yeah, you should have met my brother.
A big call.
Okay, that's fine. He was in the Gurkha Signals. So.
Fantastic.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. And did we have Ryan? You've raised your hand. Ryan, do you have a question?
Oh yeah, just quickly, thank you all for taking part today. It's been great to watch you. Just a quick question: as project management organisations, do you usually hire construction management within your own organisation, or do you outsource that to a partnership construction system that you already know for handling the on-site management?
I can answer that from a Thompsons perspective. So Thompsons initially, sort of 12, 15 years ago now, was a family business, and it's grown into 3 owning directors. 2 have now left the business. The business has been bought out by a private equity firm, and it's looking to significantly upscale. And traditionally, we have had all of our own joiners had become foremen had become site managers, and indeed some site managers then went on to be contracts and then key account managers. A great story of one of the lads who'd been in 15 years as an apprentice and then ended up as managing a £10 million per annum account as a key account manager. And so traditionally it was that. However, with the bigger contracts now, like this, it was a £2 million fit out. Other framework agreements that we're looking at with Starbucks and other such companies in Northern Ireland, Scotland and regional areas, we are looking to outsource some of that construction site management. But the reason why people tend to go for PAYE in-house is because that reliability, that understanding of the way that each project needs to work, how the buyers and the QSs all interact is so important. So there's a lot of opportunities there for construction site managers being brought into the business, but on a permanent basis rather than third party.
Yeah, that's good to hear, Richard. Thank you. And Kirk, for Aecom, do you employ site managers direct?
After talking about it earlier, we do have some roles for site management, but as a consultancy, it doesn't tend to be our focus. It's more project management, program management. Although with the caveat on that I only look after one small part of the business. So what I would always suggest to anyone is have a look at the website and see what opportunities that we have at that level, because they always surprise me in terms of what other parts of the business are recruiting and specific skill sets. So
yeah, thank you very much for your responses, both of you. Cheers.
Thank you, Ryan. And Serena, do you have a question?
Yes, hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This is Serena. I've just asked a question to Kirk. Do you have any jobs available in Newcastle, located in Newcastle?
Again, it will depend on kind of what you're looking for specifically, but I know from my business we've got contracts for clients in the northeast. I think we've got Northumbria Rail as one of the major ones that we're looking for at the moment. So we are looking for people out of Newcastle, York as well. So yes, we do have roles in the northeast. Most major geographic areas we've got offices and will have roles. We may not have them at this moment. We are just starting to ramp up our recruitment again after the recent global events. But the plans are for between now and I believe April next year for most roles to go live again and to be fully in the swing of recruitment. So there is an option as well on our website that you can set up alerts. And if any roles come up within particular geographic regions, they will email you to confirm it. We also have got a talent network that we're developing. I don't know a huge amount of information on it. It's brand new, but essentially it's a system where you can register your details, and then as future opportunities come in, that we will get in touch with you in regards to it.
Okay, thank you, Serena. Yeah, sorry.
I think I'll just add something onto that, Kirk, is given the remote ways of working and the success that we've had as a company over the last 8 months, we are not necessarily fixated on locations. So depending on the role, in particularly with regards to my team, we are happily employing and have employed people that are dislocated from London. Much can be completed and conducted over this mechanism, over these ways of working, and it's proven to be not a barrier, so to say. So if you're in the northeast, there's no reason that you can't actually conduct controlling project management in the southeast, because it can all be conducted over these means. So although and what Kirk alluded to there about the new talent pool, that type of activity should assist with ensuring that we get the best people for the right roles.
That's a good point, David. And Richard, is that true of Thompsons as well? Are you seeing a great deal of flexibility?
Yeah, likewise we do. I was down in Hale near Newquay before on the 23rd of December last year, handing over a Starbucks sneakily. We've got people up at Glen Eagles Hotel doing a fit out of the restaurant and the spa at the moment. So, we're all over the place. We tend to recruit traditionally again from the northwest, but much like David's just mentioned, we are now adopting remote ways of working, and our CEO is actually based out of just outside of London, and commercial director from sort of Cambridgeshire area. So we don't see it as much of a barrier anymore. I would say, just be prepared that if you are taking on a role, that, as much as we say we can work remotely, quite often there will be times where you identify, as I said, putting yourself at the point of main effort. You need to be there. You just need to be prepared to do that travelling if it's required. And it like I found at this project, it's only 45 minutes from my front door. It's relatively close to home, but it still needed me there at this key stage every day, and that's not for everyone.
Yeah, and it's a very good point, Richard, but that's why we love construction. It's real, you can see it and feel it and taste it. So again, thank you for that, Serena. James Murray, do you have a question? You want to put your camera on or your mic off?
Yes, sorry, apologies for being in uniform. I am currently in work, unfortunately. I'm going to have 22 years of aviation operations experience. I'm just wondering how that would translate into the operation side of the building sector.
David or Richard? Yeah.
I'll let David take this one.
Thanks, Richard. I guess from an aviation sector perspective, there's been a significant impact over the last couple of months, given the global pandemic and the effects that's had on projects and programs such as Heathrow, Luton, Gatwick to a certain degree. So that's with regard to the tangible kind of experience that you would have. But the operational management and the leadership and the kind of approach from a program perspective would be the same. It's a different sector, but it would be the same. So what I would suggest is you would have good transferable skills without knowing you, but have a good appreciation of your background and what you would have done to date. So you will have good transferable skills, and it's as me and Richard have both alluded to, it's identifying that opportunity where you see yourself as a good fit, or you see something that you would like to do, and then making yourself be able to fit into that. It lends itself back to that agility that I said. You are transitioning into something else, and ultimately it's a challenge. I would suggest you need to remain agile to that environment, as opposed to everybody else bending and flexing to what your particular expertise would provide. Is that okay, James? I don't know if Richard's got anything to add to that.
Yeah, so James, I've not worked in aviation operations previously. I've had a little bit to do with them, so I don't know a lot about it. Apologies. I know it's been quite in the public eye topic over the last couple of days of CGS being dropped in the wrong field, but that's for another discussion. What I would say is, compare the environment that you currently work in and the tasks that are currently asked of you in your job. It's a highly regulated field that you work in. You have to be highly precise with the information that comes in, the information that you give out, and the timeliness of that information. I ask, it has to be detailed with regards to the planning, the foresight, and everything else. I would liken that to either one of our logistics management roles with regards to goods in, goods out, and managing that operation with the workshop and the amount of case goods that come out for all the different clients that we have, getting that to the right place at the right time for the right person, and also our buying department within construction, working hard to get the exact right product, service, subcontractor, whatever that is, in a timely fashion, perhaps driving them, being prepared to drive them down in price or compare them. Are all key skills that you will have from your current industry, and it's about translating what you have and making that relevant to the business that you're going into. And it may require to read round some of the supporting roles. So when it says job responsibility, the other departments that you support, liken that to where you are in your current organisation and who else you support at the moment, whether that be a flight officer, the pilots themselves, the logisticians, or whatever, and try and make the two comparable. I think that would go a long way.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your answers.
You're very welcome, James. Thank you for asking. Okay, David Keat. Are you there, David? Do you have a question? Or Gaz George? Gaz, are you there? It's a great name.
Sorry, I am here. Sorry.
You are.
I wouldn't unmute just on my mobile phone and like others at work. Just want to say thank you very much for you guys coming and talking to us, because obviously they've been through the process and we're starting to it. I'm currently the Brigade K1 officer for 16 Brigade. I'm not out till August 22. I've just recently done my Prince 2 Foundation and Agile Foundation and Practitioner. I'm just wondering what sort of advice you would give as to what other courses I could look at doing to sort of build up on my CV, and things I thought was sort of risk management and change. I'm just wondering what advice you would give.
So from an Aecom perspective, I did, and as I said, I will share these slides afterwards. There is what we would look at as almost a minimum requirement with regards to program and project management. We would have a construction management similarity with regards to the competencies that are needed. And on there, you'll see in the project space, we're really looking for contract management expertise and affiliation to some project management association. The broaching into the program area. So from my perspective, and if this is something that you are keen on undertaking, it's then enhancing your Prince 2 to an MSP qualification. A lot of our clients, it's a line in the sand. You need to have something like MSP to be able to successfully win the commission. And then from my perspective, I also pushed into doing an MBA in my final tenure within the military, and I found that just provided me with some authority, and it just enabled me to have conversations which I previously probably wouldn't have been able to have, and that set me in good stead. And that's something which is obviously on offer to you through the service MBA agreement that's in place. And also the last thing I would suggest, and this isn't for everybody, but it's looking towards this professional affiliation and how you can justify your competencies that you've already undertaken within the military, such as CMI. CMI is a great one. It's a relatively easy fix. So the Chartered Management Institution, chartered engineer status is obviously always sought after, especially in a company such as Aecom, which is engineering specific. So them type of things, but they're not fixed. It's more you as the person. But these are the type of things that I would recommend you may want to have a look at.
Thank you, Richard. Do you have anything to add?
The fire alarm's going off. That's all I have to. No, if you can hear me, I completely agree with David. you know, I find don't take, from my perspective with our business, you know, don't take some of the courses too seriously. You know, the business will have a way of working, but what I would say is that having some sort of commercial backing, commercial course, understanding of contracts management, you know, will absolutely add credibility to your application. So, you know, I would recommend reading into that. And there are some various courses on DLE that you can access free of charge, not with your enhanced or standard learning credits. You know, go on DLE, see what's available. There's APMP pre-courses reading as well. It will just help build that portfolio up. And again, just create that conversation. I too have started an MBA, and again, that's open doors. People just like to know that you're interested in professional development. But, you know, also, if you have done a full career, you know, taking the opportunity to do something that you've not had the chance to do before. It's a unique opportunity. As David said, enjoy the process. You know, go and do, you know, a DIY course so that you can do your house, or you know, something that is completely different. You know, take that opportunity as well. Don't take it too seriously. There will be time, and companies like Aecom and Thompsons do support professional development courses once you're in the business.
Okay, thank you, Richard. I do hope that's planned. Your fire alarm.
I'm sure it is.
Right,
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gaz, George, Gaz, are you there? If you have a question to ask.
Yeah, I do. Hi, Dave. Not spoken to you in quite a few years, mate. Well, you got answered on the last one about the Prince 2 Agile and Change Management, Risk Management. I've already got the CMI level 6. I'm looking to be the chart manager. How does it fix, obviously, from like the core from the engineers? We have EngTech, because I'm in the core institution, as being going for iEng. Does that still hold any sort of like weight behind it?
Yeah, hi Gaz. Is that a purple shirt you've got on there or not?
No, it's not. It's reservist one from 75. Sorry, mate.
It's I don't know if you remember the purple shirt conversation.
Oh,
yeah. So good to see you. Good to see you, mate. So what I would suggest is the EngTech and the iEng is definitely something to pursue. This is my advice. As I said, you can take it or leave it. But with the companies such as Aecom, professional affiliation is kind of key. We are constantly driving to either project and program professional affiliation or engineering professional affiliation. So for my staff, it's always one of their key objectives each year is to be aligned to an engineer or an institution. The company pay the subscriptions. They provide business development days to allow you to continually undertake that activity. So if there's just say a 10,000 word essay that is required in support of your application, they would support that with regards to learning activity. So looking at EngTech with RE institution, yeah, definitely a given, and I'd push for iEng. They would the core I know are supporting the likes of, and with your experience, Gaz, you would be a natural fit for that type of environment. Our colleague on the call, Darren Carlisle, is iEng with RE institution, and Darren is the defence lead, so he's a director within the company, is a very senior guy, and so he has that qualification, and I'm sure he'd echo if he wanted to come on the call to say it's something that we would look at as a, you know, something definitely good to be undertaken. Is that good? Does that support, mate?
Yeah, because I've already just sent the application form for the guy down at CPD with it in one reg, Casper. So he's going to be the guy that's going to have a look at it through it, because it used to be just for obviously the clerk of work sort of one, but it's now actually the whole system's changed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Opportunities, but like I didn't know until I started to tap into it that a lot of people in the core don't know that they can still go there for it. So even from like my PSI that I've got with us. He didn't even realise it. So next week I have to sit him down and sign the start process of being EngTech and getting iEng. And even like he can't make this CMI, but using his stuff that he's already got and trying progressing onto it. But a lot of this stuff that's been answered previously, it's been great. And I'm going to get you on LinkedIn because I need to have a chat offline if you can, mate.
No problem. Good to chat, Gaz. Take care.
Take care.
Thank you, Gaz. And again, to Richard on the contracting side, do you find that the accreditation helps in any way?
Yeah, I mean, for our business, it's more about experience. So how you could translate that experience that you've got, previous engineering experience, and through to projects that we conduct. We are mainly, shop fitting, fit out, rather than sort of hard construction, if you will. So less applicable to us. However, I do have an engineer within the business who I recruited. A guy called Dean Finch, diver engineer, and he had all his various different accreditations. He's gone to NEBOSH, IOSH accreditations, and that's the way his brain works. And he's highly accredited in health and safety. So Dean's with us and he does that. So.
But the business supports it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's good. Okay, got a question from Birendra.
Hello, hello now. Yes, hello guys. Hello guys. I think I know you. You are from Royal Engineers. I'm from the Queen's Engineers. I should know you. Okay. Just a question. The Aecom. What kind of the product normally the company delivers to the client?
So Aecom is a consultancy. So predominantly we provide, as the word says, consultancy activity with regards to advisory services, project leadership, program leadership. So if we look at Aecom, what does it provide? It's architecture, engineering, construction, operation and maintenance. As we're aware, it's a global company. It has a significant, it's a multi-billion-pound turnover company globally. We have recently engaged with a change in potential business approach. I'm not going to tap too much into that, but we will be looking at a Europe-wide approach to how we conduct our business. And there's a number of business lines which the business predominantly support. But if you think of infrastructure and large-scale infrastructure, how that's delivered, anything from Whipps Cross to I led a programme of works at the Houses of Parliament, delivering an upscaled engineering infrastructure resilience system, predominantly looking at district heating network systems and whatnot, all the way through to the national security sector, which focuses on activities with DIO, US Air Force, Ministry of Justice, and we literally have tentacles into all government departments, many private clients, and if you were to name a corporation or a large-scale construction activity within Europe and probably globally, Aecom are involved in one guise or another. So there's plenty of opportunities, Berinda, and I think as Kirk alluded to, the best thing that you could do is go and have a look at the Aecom website and just have a feel and have a look through, because it is a very good, informative setup on there, and it can also provide you with an understanding of the type of opportunities that are available.
David, thank you very much. I really appreciate the answer. Yeah, your answer exactly. Yeah, that is what I'm looking for. For example, I know the English is not my first language. The people like me, I think that what is the lower? Is there any role that is where I can start from?
So what I'd do is I'd focus your attentions on the website, because there are hundreds of opportunities on there to look through. But with regards to diversity of employment, the company has a very, very diverse environment. It's a multi-national company, and you alluded to your English being your second language there. That's not necessarily a barrier. It's as me and Richard have both alluded to, it's about the skill set and what you can bring and what you can offer and how you can present yourself to the company, and ultimately your experiences are key. So have a think about that and think about how you can offer that to either, to whatever company you want to go forward with. Yeah,
David, I really appreciate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Belinda, for the question, and thank you, David, for the answer. Kirk, we have a question that was asked by Chris. So essentially he's looking at grad roles but doesn't have the prerequisite BEng degree. Would he still be eligible for a graduate position with a shed load of experience instead?
For the specific graduate positions, I'm not an early careers recruiter. That's a different team. I do believe because they go through a certified graduate training program that a degree is required for them. I will clarify off my colleagues, but my understanding is that for the specific graduate roles, that yes, they are. However, we do have roles, for example, in project management, where it would be assistant project managers, where it is coming in at the same level as a graduate, but just without the same structured approach to developing your career that a graduate has. It's a position where you will be working alongside a fully blown project manager, and then you will be looking to potentially do your degree. I know there's people who are doing their degrees and masters currently being paid for by Aecom at this time, alongside them working a fully utilized role within a client organization, or multiple client organizations. So yeah, it wouldn't necessarily be a no go for not having a degree in the general positions, but as I understand it, it would be for the specific graduate program.
Okay, thank you, Kirk. One question I have for Richard, and it's a question that comes up quite a lot. Richard, you mentioned to commercialise everything in your project management lessons. In terms of those in the military who just don't have that commercial or that financial skill or awareness, was it self-taught when you got to industry, or are you supported by commercial managers and finance managers?
So yeah, good question. I've heard it a lot. I've heard it in interviews. You don't have a lot of commercial acumen or commercial experience. How will you get around that? And I think although it might not be on paper, I think again you can draw from your experience and say, oh, well, actually I was responsible for managing resources here. I had a financial implication to it. For even something such as simple as the way in which you've run a, I'm within the infantry, Fusilier, run a range package. How the ammunition has been allocated and distributed, and how it's been accounted for, and then how it's been processed back. Something as simple as that. Or if you are planning training exercises on an exercise training tool, whether it be BAMS or Churchill or any of those other events, you have done financial management and an understanding of cost allocation using those tools, but it's just not got that particular stamp. So in my own personal circumstance, yes, it's self-taught. It's reading some very, very basic, the basics of how to understand a balance sheet. It's some of the commercial courses on DLE. It's also then making sure that if you do get to a business, you sit down with the QSs, the estimators, the commercial staff, the accountants, the people that are conducting the payroll. It's understanding what they do, and that's purely been through conversations. So, don't be worried about it. Don't be worried about being asked that question at interview. Embrace it, and just, as David sort of suggested, prepare that response. A really good book, and it featured in my slide, was Great Answers to Tough Interview Questions. It's got the answers written there for you. You can just tailor those to suit. Do embrace the question. Don't shy away from it or fear it.
Okay, no, thank you, Richard. And as a quantity surveyor by trade, if anybody asked me kind of what my job's like and if I could talk about it, I could go on for hours. So I'm sure people would be more than happy to help.
The one thing that I didn't get a chance to say, Angela, earlier is that I know Aecom have clearly got an excellent recruitment pitch there, or opening opportunities, but Thompsons has fared the storm pretty well through the pandemic. Our client Euro Garages, you'll have seen from papers, have just bought Asda. Our sister company Sigma actually did work for Asda, Aldi, Lidl, and they specialise in supermarket fit out, and we do the more bespoke retail hospitality sector. So Thompsons doesn't have any live positions currently. I know from looking into Q1 of next financial year, of next calendar year, we will be looking to conduct recruitment in project management roles and other areas of sort of junior management and construction site management as well. So if anybody is interested, do reach out to me on LinkedIn, do have a look on our website, and email careers@Thompsons, and you'll be able to get that information.
Richard, that's great. You're going to be inundated now you've said that, but thank you very much. Could I ask either Richard or David, do you have any final words to our audience listening today?
I think between myself and Richard, we've provided a very good overview. We obviously work in different environments, but there are real similarities, and I've tried not to echo the exact points that Richard has said, but it's quite difficult because they are very similar environments. It's the same type of acumen. It's just the same type of ability and endeavour wrapped in under a different umbrella. So all I would suggest before I hand over to Richard, if you wanted to say anything, was it's key to have confidence. Have confidence in the fact that you can adapt, and that's part that the whole role of being a military person is that adaptability. And things such as the commercial acumen that we've been discussing, you'll learn it when you need to learn it. This is one of the key things I've taken is I am comfortable being uncomfortable, and you will all have experienced much uncomfortableness throughout your careers, and it's just translating that into a new environment. Accept it for what it is and just roll with it, and don't think that you have to know everything on day one, because you really don't, and no one would be expecting you to do that. So it's flexing to suit. Ego is a big one. Leave the ego way out of the way. Learn and adapt to the people in your new environment, and they will be learning and adapting to what you have to bring, your expertise. So good luck to everybody. Please do reach out if you need anything. Kirk will be the main point of contact for applications and whatnot, but I wish you all the very best of luck going forwards.
Thank you, David. And Richard, do you have any
feel free
words?
to connect as well.
Thank you, Kirk.
Likewise, I think really from me, it's just enjoy the process of resettlement and the opportunity that you have. No doubt, like myself, you'll have an incredible amount of leave at the end of your career, and that's a very rare opportunity. Effectively, I had a 3-month off period whereby I did a full house renovation on a Victorian end of terrace that I now enjoy living in, and I would never have had the opportunity to be on site every day. And actually, I found that opportunity then allowed me to see what all the tricks and tips that the various things that are going on the site. So again, do work hard on the job front, but don't be completely fixated on it, because take the opportunity. It's a once in a lifetime one. And my second point really is that the first job you get, it probably won't be your last. So again, if you feel like you've made maybe the wrong decision, or you're not with the right company, or you're in the wrong role, don't worry about it, because people are quite transient in civilian careers, particularly in the construction sector. It is fine to move. People will accept that if you are seeking other opportunities, or you get another opportunity with a business, or if you're not happy, and instead of giving 12 months notice and having to work it, you only have to give 1 or 2 weeks, and you can quite quickly move on. So again, don't fear, because there are plenty of opportunities out there, even in a pandemic, and with the skill set that you've built up over your full service career, however long that may be, that will set you apart from other candidates.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Richard. And again, Kirk, a massive thank you. And again, for answering a lot of the questions. One final question, Kirk. CVs, the all-important CVs, it opens doors. It's that initial introduction. It gets you in front of an interview panel. Is there any advice you would give on just what makes a standout CV?
I was thinking on this before the call, actually, because I know it's a common question. I think putting the values of what you work with in terms of financial, and having a think around that. I remember it was a troop commander for a armoured regiment suddenly put down in their CV that they actually looked after 25 million pounds worth of equipment as a 22, 23-year-old straight out of Sandhurst, and when actually that's something that a civilian employer would not, you just wouldn't potentially get that side kind of responsibility. So it's having a good think about the kind of values of what you've been doing, and putting them down in with pounds on. I know the MOD doesn't always put pounds on things, but just have a think about it. Do a Google search on potential kind of equipment values and such, and then it can take what could be a CV that someone doesn't understand to a CV of, this is so and so, they've been looking after 100, 200 million pound programs, projects, resources, and that's something that then does stand out and helps people understand it. And I also think as well is, if it is construction that you're looking to go into, really doing the research on what type of skill sets they're looking for and tailoring your CV to that. So I know David mentioned the NEC form of contract. I know there is training available for that. JCT as well, I believe, is the one that's used primarily in building services. So having a look at doing that, even if it's not a paid course, even it's just having that understanding. And also we don't use keyword filters, but companies do use them, and if you haven't got it in your CV, you may not get onto a human looking at your CV. So even being able to write that you've got an understanding or you've been learning NEC or JCT means that you can then get to the next step in the recruitment process, which is talking to a human being and then being able to kind of sell yourself. And I think that's the other big part of what we do, which may be unusual for people who are used to kind of formal appraisals, and often being quite not necessarily selling themselves or being overly putting oneself forward, being rather polite about their own abilities. I think the interview stage is really an opportunity to sell yourself and what you can do and what you can bring to an organisation, and it won't be seen as being arrogant or seen as being overplaying your hand. It really is the way to put yourself in front of other competitors and people who've been in Civvy Street and will know that they need to really sell themselves to every potential employer. Obviously, we'll need to sell ourselves as well, and that is a big part. And if you ever go into an interview, it shouldn't be a one-way process. You shouldn't be obsequious with employers, but you need to find out that they're going to be a good cultural fit as well. But it should be both of you kind of selling what you can offer and how you can help the pain in their organisation with your particular skill set.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Thank you, Kirk. Thompsons and Aecom, you have been exceptional this morning. This has been an incredible virtual career chat. So thank you very much. And I'll pass back to Caroline to hear when our next virtual career chat will be. Your mic's on, Caroline. You're muted, sorry.
Yeah, I always mock other people for that. Thank you. So just like to echo Angela's thanks. Thank you, Aecom and Thompsons. I mean, you are a huge support to the programme and we really do appreciate it. I'd like to just echo that my favourite saying, I do like to pick one up every chat. I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. I'm going to use that one, and especially having teenagers, I think that's a good lesson to learn. So just to add to anyone that is looking to connect further in the sector or to know more about the different roles that are on offer, please do connect with us or go to our website, because we can really help, support and advise. So our next career chat is in 2 weeks' time, Thursday, same place, Teams. Health and safety with Alliance partners Amy and Wilmot Dixon. So I hope you've enjoyed today as much as we have. Take care and get in touch. Bye.
See you now. Bye.